So good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. It is January 18th, and it's a regular select board meeting. Call the meeting to order at 6:12. And we have Shelley Huber, Ann Golub, myself, Angela Sanborn at the table. Via Zoom, we have Katie Johnson-Applin, and we'll just get started. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda?
I just want to talk quickly about ARPA and just let people know a recent government decision.
So we can put that in old business?
Definitely.
Great. Anything else? All right, we will move to the approval of the January 3rd regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I abstain, I wasn't there.
We'll do that via voting. All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. And we'll do roll call since Katie is via Zoom. So Katie?
Aye.
Shelley?
Abstain.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Thank you.
No mic today.
No mic? So now we'll move to the January 10th budget meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Katie?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Ann?
aye.
Myself, aye. Thank you so much. Good evening, Jay. Thanks for all your hard work during this snowstorm we just had.
Yeah, it was nice to have snow for a change.
Oh, beautiful.
So the bat houses are installed at the Old Town Garage. There's two different styles he put up. We received a proposal from David Balk, engineer, to do the environmental site assessment for the Redway Hill property. His price was $2,000 and it could be done in 2 weeks. The snowfall yesterday was a nice change from the ice storms we've been having. Hopefully it will keep insulating. It will help to insulate the culverts to keep the water. We have several spots that the water is running across the road and freezing. We're working on those spots. We worked on the one on Dover Road for quite a while today, and hopefully we can get a handle on some of that water that's just put out everywhere.
No.
We're getting closer to getting the pedestrian scoping study started for Newfane Village. The municipal project manager, I guess is what she's called, from V-Trans is getting ready to put the project out to bid. So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have something going on that. The bids for Monroe Bridge, the cleaning and greasing are due to be open tonight. The Depot Road box culvert condemnation is still between Fisher's office and V-Trans. Hasn't really gone anywhere since the first week or so of December, so hopefully they'll get going on it. And the sand salt shed is hopefully going out to bid soon. They're getting closer. There's a few more things waiting from the engineer.
So as part of your report, do you want to do these now?
Sure.
All right, so the first one I have is for Monroe Bridge. I believe there's only one. Estimated completion date by November 1, 2022. It's Vermont Protective Coatings, Inc. from Brandon, Vermont. And the estimated project total cost is $372,275. So that's the only one for Monroe Bridge.
Did you expect it to be that much?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
we were hoping 350, but yes, that's in the ballpark.
Wow, okay.
So is there a motion to accept this bid for Vermont Protective Coatings for the Monroe Bridge, since it's the only one we have?
So what are they doing?
So they they would clean all the steel work under the bridge with,
Yeah.
the tools have to be hooked to a vacuum. And so everything is sucked up instead of going to the river or whatever. And then they prime all the steel, and then we grease it with this special grease that's good for 15 years to protect the bridge.
Katie has a question.
Katie,
Is this the same company that did this summer's work?
No, it's more of a specialty thing. There's only a few companies that do it, and we had another company come down and ask questions and go look at it, but they decided it must be to not put in a bid. So there's not a lot of companies that do this. It's this guy that came down that didn't end up bidding. He just finished a 4-year project for V-Trans doing a 900-foot bridge. And he was saying how expensive the grease has become to do these bridges. He was estimating 40-some thousand just for the grease for this project, plus full summer's labor and all the equipment you need to set up. Basically, they set up scaffolding under the bridge to work from so they're pretty much would be there and say most of the summer, more than likely.
And this will give more length of time,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, since we did all the other work to it, this is the rest of the bridge, and then hopefully we'll be in good shape for quite a while.
And is this funded by either V-Trans or anyone else, or is it solely on us?
We got $175,000 from V-Trans to pay for it.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Well, I make a motion that we accept the bid, as long as the insurance and everything is in good order.
Anna already seconded that. So is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Katie?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Great, so you'll be in touch with them, Jay?
I will.
Thank you. And the second bids we have is for phase 1 in the environmental assessment for the gravel pit, correct? The first one is from Terracon with a whole lot of documentation and such
First page, 27, yeah.
for $2,700. And then the second one is from DB Environmental Consulting for $2,000. It will provide a phase 1 report in accordance with the American Society for Testing and Materials standard practice for environmental assessments of commercial properties, phase 1 environmental assessment process. The purpose of this phase is to identify recognized environmental conditions, RECs as defined in ASTM E1527-05, and to meet the requirements to perform all appropriate inquiry for purposes of the landowner limited protections specified in 40 CFR 312. Completion of the phase 1 report will require acquiring information from the site owner and buyer with pricing representing cooperation from all parties. As part of the completion of a phase 1 report, access will be required to all areas of the property. Pending no unforeseen circumstances, completion of the report will be by January 31st, 2022, and then full payment upon receipt of the report.
So he keeps referring to phase 1.
They're both for phase 1, and it's just to do the environmental assessment.
Okay.
So, Jay, do you have any recommendation?
The only one I know anything about is the DB, his name is David Bulb.
Yeah.
There's full local contractors, Dave Manning and Jeff Brown, and so we're use him when they do like tank removal,
Yeah?
gas tank, fuel tanks, and they've always had good luck with him, so that's the only thing I know. And Mike, I guess, knew him, so he recommended him.
Yeah, I think I've heard of them before. So I make a
A motion?
A motion. I make a motion
For DB.
for DB Environment.
I second.
Is there any further discussion?
I have one question. What is the status of the sale agreement with the owner? Do you know?
Yeah.
When
Is that
is it?
something later?
We have the signed contract back from Fisher and Fisher. It was signed on the 12th of January.
Oh,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
so we're still under contract to proceed with getting our studies and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the time frame? Do you know?
It's April, yeah.
April 7th, I believe, is the deadline.
So it's going according to plan.
Good.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor for DB to do the assessment, say aye. Katie,
Aye.
Shelley,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
myself, aye. Great. All right, is there a motion to approve the road foreman and commissioners report?
Make a motion to approve the report.
Second?
I second.
I'll second that.
Great, any further discussion for Jay on his report? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Katie,
Aye.
Shelley,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
myself, aye. Thank you so much, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
We really appreciate everything you do.
Somebody listed up on front porch, thank you about the roads. I saw today.
So now we will go to Juanetta, the administrative assistant's report. Good evening.
Good evening. I updated the figures on the proposed budget for your review and signature tonight. That's going to be the warning. There's a draft for the town meeting warning for your review and signature as well. The legislative bill S-172 was signed by the governor, so we can proceed with the Australian ballot. And then Doris Knetchel has submitted a letter for your consideration. She would like to propose that Katie Bristol be given a pay increase, and this increase has already been included in the lister's budget and will in no way affect the proposed budget you are considering tonight. So because there's excess funds from not paying all the listers,
Yeah.
she wants to apply it toward a increase in Katie's pay.
And what's that increase?
I don't see the letter. You said the
Yeah,
letter's in our
I don't
packet.
see your minutes.
I thought that we had already received that at one
It
point.
might have been in an older folder that we didn't discuss last time.
Oh,
Okay.
Um,
I didn't,
Do you have that available right off the top?
don't recall.
Okay.
And then Tristan Johnson came in on Thursday the 13th and wanted me to convey his appreciation to the road crew who worked during Christmas to make sure that others had a safe holiday.
So, should we look for the letter from Doris on Katie? Or continue it, or do we need to do it today? This one,
I remember talking about it.
there we go.
That one was.
So it'd be an increase from the hourly, from $16 to $18 per hour, the same hourly rate as the listers are currently being paid, as well as for the next fiscal year. The reason for the request is that with the 3 new lister posting positions being up for election in March, Katie will be the person having to be the main day-to-day overseer of the office beginning March 1st, 2022. with more responsibility teaching the new, if any, new listers with the NEMRIC or the NEMC agreement. There will also be an assessor for 1 or 2 days a month for which Katie will be responsible for putting in the data collected by an assessor. Katie has been a tremendous asset to the overall operation of the office. She is very interested, capable, and understands the entire process, and is quick to learn new things that she is first introduced to. There are enough funds in this current FY22 and FY23 for the budget for this increase to occur at any time.
I make a motion to increase her rate by $2 to $18 an hour.
I second it.
Any discussion?
Do we need to say effective immediately?
It would start at the new year, or is it immediate?
Whenever you would like.
I'm happy to back it up to January 1st. Are you?
Sure, yeah.
To amend the motion?
Amend the motion to January 1st, 2022.
I'm having the hardest time remembering what year it
No.
And you'll second that?
is. Yes, sorry, I seconded it.
Great. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye, nay, or abstain. Katie?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Great. And thank you for all your hard work, Katie. Is there a motion to accept the administrative assistant's report?
Yeah, I didn't get a copy of it. Is there one floating around?
I can get you a copy.
Okay.
I only made one for myself.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I would make a motion to accept the report.
I
from
second it.
The administrative assistant.
Any further discussion? Thank you for all your hard work. It is much appreciated.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Katie?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, aye. All right, so I apologize we're running a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties, so we're gonna try and get going so that everything can be heard tonight. And we're moving into the committee report, and we have Ken Estley and Jane Douglas here from the Planning Commission. So, oh, I'm sorry.
And Kate.
And Kate,
Yeah.
sorry. The floor is yours.
Okay, good evening. So, greetings to all. Thank you for the time to present. I prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and I should just say again, Ken Estley, Chair of the Planning Commission, for the record and for the viewing audience. So, the situation is that, as you know, there are 4 categories on the ARPA survey that we sent out to 1,050 households. And as you may recall, from the 437 or so responses, while it's true that the economic sustainability category, won, as it were, it wasn't such a lopsided victory that, the Planning Commission felt like we would put all our eggs particularly in that basket. So what I'm about to show you are about 6 different recommendations. And we present the 6 recommendations on the assumption that maybe other money is on its way from the state, that we have a consultant perhaps with whom we'll be working to leverage yet other monies, that more than one recommendation could be taken on, not all 6, but maybe certainly more than one. And so those are some of the assumptions that go into the presentation that I'm just about to show you. Let it be said that I will send this PowerPoint presentation to Juanetta so that she can distribute it to the select board members. And also just to always thank Kate and Jane and Nolan and Lynn for their patience and all the work that they've done also. So this presentation rests on their labors. So let me go to share screen. and I'm going to go to the presentation. And so here we are. And as I had mentioned, and you can see this, is that correct?
Yes.
Everybody's good. In fact,
What about that drop-down menu?
excuse me. Okay, so there is what I was saying earlier about economic sustainability, one, but you can see that monies were distributed not evenly, but each category gained gained support and substantial support. So that's just a reminder of the report that Lynn put together that you've already received, and I just wanted you to see that. And source for our recommendations. Recall we also asked survey takers to choose among the subcategories below each of the 4 major categories, and we looked at those responses, we totaled the numbers, and we created the 6 recommendations. So recommendation number 1, purchase and or renovate a building or buildings in Newfane, such as the Newfane Inn or the abandoned South Newfane Country Store, to develop a multi-use center for housing and to promote businesses and provide multi-generational community space. So that is recommendation number 1, and the reason for that is that the categories, subcategories, you can take a quick look at that. You can see there's a lot of support for community space, community arts, recreation space. You'll notice there's 64 people purchase and renovate property in Newfane. Business incubation space didn't get much of a response, but still it's kind of in keeping with, as with childcare, community spaces that can be used for a variety of purposes. Okay, that's recommendation number 1. Recommendation number 2 is related, it's different though. Partner with neighboring towns to create a multi-use center providing multi-generational community space, create a shuttle service between Newfane and neighboring towns, and that space could include a food service, entertainment, and recreation such as skate park, swimming pool, or skating rink. And you'll see that our reason for recommendation number 2 has to do with all those reasons you saw in recommendation number 1, but particularly discussions, multiple discussions with Leland and Gray students who want places to go and ways to get there. This is a huge, huge, huge concern. It's our future. Leland and Gray students spoke with clarity, with vigor, and they are an inspiration. And I want to definitely give a shout out to those Leland and Gray students: Rory O'Donnell, Gerald, Kate, Katie, Anne, everyone who was involved, Lynn, going to and participating with the students in the discussion. Also, you'll notice too that I just need to collapse the images. Okay, yeah, the considerable interest in transportation factors into the recommendation number 2. 143 responses, establish a bus service to connect Newfane residents with neighboring towns and school and work and services. Okay, recommendation number 3 is provide funding for renovating or upgrading septic systems for homeowners who want to create long-term housing units in their homes or as accessory dwelling units, ADUs. And a huge, huge number of responses, 189 who indicated such an interest. So that's recommendation number 3 and the reason for recommendation number 3. Okay, I'll go now to recommendation 4. Allocate funding for broadband drop costs and possible underground connection costs to residents when it is not affordable for those residents. And the reason for recommendation number 4 has to do with economic sustainability received the most dollars in the survey overall. as you saw earlier, just a few minutes ago. And the way we see it is broadband is an essential component of the workplace, whether one works at home or away from home. And the votes, reason 2, for the initiatives below suggest a need to support local and home-based businesses or to develop new businesses. And so, while they don't mention broadband, certainly, to really pull off, or to implement or to make possible the types of bullet points that you see right here in this slide would require broadband. So that's our recommendation number 4. And it would be in concert with all the excellent work that Jane is doing, and the timing, in terms of when we have to obligate and spend the money, it works out. Okay, recommendation number 5, support residents' health by establishing bicycle and walking infrastructure. And the situation is that we have about 144 respondents who, were indicated an interest in this. And a personal note, it seems that the villages, that this is particularly, appropriate to the villages. We have village center designation. We want to develop our villages. We want them to be vibrant. This could be a good way to enhance that effort, especially considering Lynn's historic effort in making it possible for the villages to have village center designation with all the tax benefits and state programs associated with it. Okay, recommendation number 6 is implement a water septic study to assess opportunities or obstacles to economic, business, and housing opportunities, such as those mentioned in recommendations number 1 and 3. And you'll see that I abridged recommendation number 1 and 3 right there. And then generally speaking, any duplex or triplex proposals in the villages have to be attentive to water and septic. So this recommendation number 6, we see is also undergirding or supporting our other recommendations. So that, in brief, would be our ARPA recommendations, 6 in number. They are not presented in the order of our interest. We present them to you as 6 equally promising and interesting recommendations. The order is roughly, it's I would say just basically random. So don't think that it's we gave you the top one first and the water and septic that's our last priority. No, they're horizontal. So that's the presentation. And again, thanks to the Planning Commission for working on this. And we don't see this as the last time we talk with you about this, but the second time, the second significant time, the first one being when we presented to you the results from the Survey Monkey and such. And this is our second presentation on the basis of your interest in having us be a little bit more specific and thematic, in our ARPA recommendations. So I know that Jane is here and Kate is also there at the town office, so I definitely welcome their voice here, and then certainly the select board, your questions or comments.
Well, this is great. Thank you so much for the information and the recommendations. It helps us to get moving on looking to where we need to better our town. Kate or Jane, do you have anything you want to add, or anyone?
I think Kim covered it all.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I was curious why you split out 2 recommendations related to septic. One, the last one seemed to be around economic development, and then the other one seemed to be about homeowners and who wanted to create long-term housing.
Right. The situation there is that, there may be homes that are, say in the villages, for instance, that, that would benefit perhaps from a village-based system. And then there may be homes that might be outside of a village-based system that want to, do something to develop long-term housing. The reason why we separated it out is that we see the possibility of, people's ability to have long-term housing or additional long-term housing may well depend on having septic and being able to do upgrades. So
You mean sewer or, just to clarify, do you mean for them to have septic or for them to be attached to a sewer?
Well, to have additional capacity if they're not near the villages.
I see.
Quite
Okay.
possibly. Or connections with village-based system. We didn't drill down into that level of detail, but I think I'm representing the Planning Commission's general notion that this is a way to, promote the conditions for developing long-term housing. That's one way to do it.
Okay, great.
So what is long-term housing considered, defined?
Not short-term. That's it.
There's a lot of people that have long-term housing, I'm assuming, in town.
Well, it was said as a joke, but I like it. I mean, it's not short-term rentals. And
It's for
we're
people to
not,
live year round as opposed to
Oh,
renting out
okay.
a room in their house or their house for a week or a weekend.
yeah, thanks, Ann, for reading that.
One second,
Or
Kate,
summer housing, or a cabin or something like that has
Okay.
been winterized, and is that included in that long-term housing, like transferring from a small cabin to a permanent residence?
Kate was saying something that I didn't hear because multiple people were speaking.
Frame it as like permanent housing, again, as
Oh,
opposed
okay.
to like Airbnb, that as opposed to short-term visitors.
Right.
Well, this is great. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of work to take the findings from the survey and translate it into these recommendations. I find that really a huge piece of work that you did, really well done. So I
Excellent.
think that we can then talk about what our next steps will be with these recommendations, and I would hope that we would stay in communication with the Planning Commission as we work these items through.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, we completely agree. We see this, as definitely, second step as part of a long series of steps. I think Katie.
Yes, Katie?
I have, actually just a thank you. I wanted to thank you, Ken, and the entire Planning Commission. I don't know how many other towns are using their planning commissions to work on ARPA ideas, but I've talked to a few other people, and their planning commissions have moved.
Well, yeah, you're welcome, and also it's in complete keeping with the collaboration that we have with you, the Selectboard, on the town plan.
Right.
So this is a completely and organically related to the town plan, and it's, our understanding of it, 3 years into the plan.
Great, thank you.
Well, thank you to the Planning Commission. Is there anything further that anyone would like to say or add? Well, I look forward, and I'm sure the rest of the board does, as to moving forward with these recommendations and seeing where we go from here. So, excellent. And with that, we will move to our next scheduled members of the public, and we have Deb Luskin here tonight. Good evening.
Hi. Hi. So, I'm here to talk about town meeting.
Yay!
And my understanding is that we have some choices about how to proceed.
Yes.
That we are still not in the clear to just do it the way we always have. So my understanding is we have several choices. One is, I suppose we could hold town meeting in person on March 1st and make sure people wear masks. We could postpone town meeting and hold it outdoors on a nice day, as long as we know 30 days in advance that it will be nice.
Right.
We could have we could do it with Australian ballot as we did last year. 32 people attended the information meeting, so it doesn't seem very inclusive. We could do a hybrid meeting where some people are there in person and some people are there remotely. That would require a certain amount of infrastructure that we would have to find somebody to do. It's not anything I'm qualified to do. We would also have to deal with, the only things I know is we are entitled to have electronic communication according to Robert's rules. And I ran out of the house. So one of the reasons I'm here is because my link to the meeting didn't work. So I did not plan to be here in person tonight. And I spend hours a day on Zoom, so I don't know why this didn't work, but the link didn't work. And I went back through my emails and found the same link for October 25th, and it also didn't work. So that is one of the problems of trying to use electronics. But it's possible if there are people in town or in the universe who the town can afford to get us wired. We would have to either require that Robert's Rules requires that people be seen, that it's not good enough to dial in. We can change Robert's Rules if we want to. It would require a vote of the people who are there. I don't know, this, as far as I can tell, there's no provision in this for certifying who is voting. I know so I don't know how that works. I mean, we would have to find out if this is possible. I don't know that yet. But since we could also just buy time. I suppose if you don't have town meeting on March 1st, you would have to warn it for a time specific in the future. So I don't know if that would be for in-person, I don't know. There are a lot of things I don't know.
Last year, am I correct, we had an informational meeting, but we had no general meeting.
That's correct.
Right.
And we could do the same this year.
We could do the same this year.
Okay.
Where all the debate, I mean, I don't know where you are in the budget, you're probably supposed to finish.
We're finished.
We are finished.
You are, congratulations, good work. So that means anybody who wanted to influence the budget has already missed their chance.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know how much participation you've had up to this point. So, so the only participation is people could come to a remote informational meeting and say, vote against this for this reason. You can only, or vote for this for this reason. You can only vote yes or no. So, boy, I didn't think we'd be here again, but here we are. And I think those are, I don't know if there's a way to say we will hold the meeting on the first Tuesday in May, either in, we'd have to check with the Secretary of State to say, we will hold it outdoors, we could rent a tent, or I don't know if you can say, if you can warn a meeting for time specific and not, and without making a provision, or you could make a provision to have a hybrid meeting I don't know at what point you have to say how the meeting is gonna happen, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
If you to say that you're not gonna have the meeting until, let's say, May,
Yeah.
doesn't that mean that you then don't do your voting until then either? So all the officers who are currently in place stay in place.
No, I'm sorry. We would still have, anything that you already do by Australian ballot, would be done. Our officers would be elected on March 1st. People would go to the polls or vote by mail, or the town office.
It would just be the articles.
It's just the articles that would wait until,
I would say that since our article, I'm sorry, you done? Did you have more to
I'm just here to help.
Go ahead, Ann.
I would just say that our articles are pretty, lengthy, but pretty cut and dry in
Yeah.
terms of what they are. They're exactly the same things that we have done in the past. There's nothing, there's no big issue like voting on the cannabis or any other big item that requires a lot of thinking and discussion and understanding. So it would be my personal recommendation that we do what we did last year, and that we go ahead and have the informational meeting for whoever wants to attend. We do the voting by Australian ballot, and at this time, we not plan to have a town meeting. But I think that there is a good possibility that we might want to have a get-together, an informational meeting, once we know more about the cannabis law.
Right.
And that we may want to then either have a town vote at a later point, or rather than waiting for another year, sort of depending on what we learn in that process. But that to me would be,
Keep it moving.
keep it moving and somewhat simpler. And then when we really do have something that is urgent and controversial and that really requires the input of townspeople, such as the question about cannabis, that we then have a meeting at that time when we're ready to do it.
Yeah, like a special meeting.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
Katie?
I was gonna say, I feel like too few people have had the opportunity to be involved with what's happening in the town. Last year, I think only 220 people came out to vote out of the 1,400 plus residents. And we lost that connectedness with the rest of the town. We usually have a better turnout than that at town meeting. And I know this is weird and hard, but I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of having a meeting in May and having everybody together and talking and outside somewhere. What would that look like? I don't think it would be a terrible idea.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Deb?
Well, I'd just like to point out that at the last in-person town meeting we had in 2019, or 2020, we met in 2020. There were 89 people at the Union Hall. And a few months ago, I don't remember what day it was now, we had a special town meeting about the gravel pit.
December.
And there were over 100 people there.
Right,
And there were masked and unmasked people.
right.
So, what's known about town meeting is that people don't bother if it's nothing to fight about. But if there is something controversial, people show up. I'm just offering that as information. I think that what Katie is saying, that only 200 some people bothered to vote, and that was by Australian ballot. Is that correct, Katie? Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Usually there are over 400 voters, which is still pathetic. But, and it's very well documented that as soon as you move to Australian ballot, you get less voter participation. Just information. I will do whatever you ask me to.
And when do we
That's my
need
job.
to actually have this decided upon? Tonight or?
You need to have something warned for March 1st, which, and
Is it right
there are
around
only
the corner?
28 days in February.
Mhm.
So
then-
there has to be something warned
Right.
if,
Next week.
I don't know, Carol might know how, if there needs to be a warning. I don't know if there needs to be a warning for Australian ballot.
If we're just, yeah, I would think so, yes, because that's your alternative for, it has to be, and we've gotta get it ready before Monetta has to send the town report out for printing. So, we can't delay much.
So I'm just wondering if, depending on what you decide, if you warn the elections and postpone the budget vote. Even, there could be even, supposedly Omicron is gonna peak this month. This is it. Maybe.
I'm done with it.
Hopefully Omega doesn't show up. I don't know. It's hard to tell what the future will bring.
I would put a motion on the table that we can't predict the future. God knows these last 2 years have been nuts. I would propose that working with the information that we have right now, that we do what we did last year, that we have an informational meeting prior to March 1st, that we have voting by Australian ballot, and that at this time we make no provisions for a town meeting. But that I think it is likely we will want to have a special town meeting at some point during this coming year to discuss the marijuana laws and how it affects the town and what things the town can choose to control or not. I would much rather have a town meeting that has a very specific purpose that I think people will care about and want to come out for. I think that would be a much more useful gathering of people with some substantive issues to be discussed.
Chris, I have a question.
Hold on, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. All right, any further discussion? Anyone? Not seeing any hands. Oh, Chris, yes?
Okay, so would that include all the appropriations, all the, you're warning everyone who asks for money separately?
Yeah.
Well, that would be on the warning and everyone would vote for that by Australian ballot on each individual item, just like we did last year.
That's what I wanted to make sure, because the people who are on that list need to know. They don't need to be put off. They can't budget if they don't know.
Yes,
Right.
I agree.
That's good. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, so now we will vote on the motion. Katie?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And myself, aye. So, now we can move forward with getting a warning put together and scheduling an informational meeting, correct? So that, we did it the night before last year,
I think that's on Monday.
the Monday before. Yeah. So, Juanetta, you'll get that all prepared and ready to go?
And the voting will happen up at the firehouse?
We need to talk about that, correct? Where that's gonna
The
happen?
voting would happen at the firehouse, correct? Oh, that's for the BCA, so we're gonna take a little recess from, I think you can stay recording. I'm not sure, but I believe so. We're gonna take a recess from the select board meeting and turn it over to Carol, our town clerk.
So, now I will call the, Newfane Board of Civil Authority to order. And I believe, we have enough, people here to have a forum.
Thank you, Kate.
And the reason we have to call, is to decide where we're going to have the Australian ballot instead of in-person town meeting. One thing you should know is that when that is happening, the current law is that we can only require masking in town-owned property. Which means if we were to do it at the fire station or at Union Hall, we could not require masking. If we had it in the town office or at Williamsville Hall, we could require masking. Because those are town-owned properties.
Okay.
I move that we have it at Williamsville Hall.
I second it. Second.
Alright, so we have a motion that's been moved and seconded. I was sort of hoping we'd have it at the town office. It's only a weekday thing and, the people at the town office seem to be fine with us interrupting their day. Some of them would end up helping us in the other place anyway, and we wouldn't have to try and Williamsville Hall, so,
And I withdraw my motion and change it.
And there's more parking here too.
Yeah.
I
More
withdraw
parking.
my motion.
So now I move to have it at the town office.
I second it.
Okay, great.
Very efficient.
Pressure's wasted, Carol.
yeah, well, I mean,
No.
What,
Mary
it makes
and I
sense.
were talking about it, and we talked to the other people in the office, and they were fine with it. We used to always do the voting at the town office before we started doing it elsewhere. You know, if we were just doing an Australian ballot, we did it at the town office a long time ago.
Well, it makes sense, you're all here anyway.
It's warm there, it's parky, and, we'll only.
Donuts and coffee?
We have coffee, yes, people can stop and get a cup of coffee on their way out if they want, so, you know, it works all that way.
Carol,
Yes?
do we allow early voting with,
Yes, we do allow early voting, so we're going to have to, right after, next Monday, I'll be getting the, ballot prepared and printed by LHS for the positions. And then, Juanetta and you guys will be working on the other ballot, so we'll have two ballots. One so that the positions are counted by the, tabulator, and one so that a bunch of us will sit there and count them up after the meeting, after 7 o'clock.
We need to have a vote on this motion?
Yes, so is there any more discussion about having it at the town office?
No.
Chris?
So then we're ready to vote. So Sandra,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Gloria,
Aye.
Katie,
Aye?
people there at the town office?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so if all in favor, we'll have our Australian ballot on March 1st at the town office.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Anything else to come before the BCA?
Carol, will you just list the voting hours again since we're on live air?
The hours will be 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Great, thank you.
We'll be able to request absentee ballots or to come into the office and vote early.
Wonderful.
So then I'll, have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
thank you,
Glad you're all here.
Good night, Carol.
Good night.
Good night, Carol.
Bye.
So we will reconvene our select board meeting at 7:12 p.m. Going right into unscheduled members of the public. Anyone?
Do you have to warn the informational meeting?
I believe we do, don't we?
I believe we did last year. We warned the informational meeting with the warning for Australian ballot.
So if my calendar's correct, it'll be the 28th of February, Monday.
Yes.
So Monday, February 28th, 6 p.m.
Sounds good.
We will have our informational meeting for our Australian ballot town meeting the following day, right? Where you can come in and vote at the town offices from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Right, when people can vote before the informational meeting.
Right.
It can happen, it's either, I think it's no more than 10 days. I don't know exactly. There's a certain, you can't have it too soon. Like,
The early voting.
no, the informational meeting, there's a window.
But we just said we're gonna have it the day before.
I know, but it doesn't have to be. Early voting starts sooner, but
Yeah.
I think it's 10, you can't have it any sooner than the 10 days, or any later than the 10 days.
yeah,
So
okay.
10 days or sooner
Mhm.
to the first. So the day before worked.
Okay.
Great.
Point
Yes, Gloria.
point of information is that if you're thinking about having a candidates informational night, that's very valid, but that's not part of the informational evening. So when we used to create a separate occasion and would have that prior to at least the majority of voting for early voting. So if candidates want to set up something, then that's different from just the informational meeting about the town meeting itself.
Right.
And
Deb?
It is, I don't know, Carol is still here. I don't know if there are any contested positions on the ballot?
I'm not
We
sure.
don't know yet because the candidates'
Oh,
consents are not due until next week.
Right.
So next week.
I wonder if
what is
we
that?
offer a space on the select board meeting for candidates to be introduced as scheduled members if they're running.
I guess if they'd like to, they can come in and, or they can call Juanetta and be put on the agenda to introduce themselves for our next meeting.
I'd be hesitant with that because that's campaigning.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well,
No, I mean, it makes sense, but I think I check into that because we
Okay.
can't campaign. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. So disregard.
Question.
Yes, Katie.
Candidates aren't quite due yet. We have another week or so.
What's
The
I
24th.
read something, I read a couple different things this past week, but one of them was that the need to have signatures has been terminated again. You just need to sign your information and give it to the town clerk.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes,
What is it?
Great.
Oh my God, signatures.
all you need to do
We don't
is
need
do
to
a
need
form.
signatures
for
to
consent.
submit our requests.
That's
Bring
correct.
them in, and you don't need
That
to
has
do a
changed.
petition with 15,
Oh, you don't?
no.
Because of the FM 72.
Okay.
Carol is in the volume of information that came in the past week, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody can hear that if they're thinking about it and haven't done it yet.
Thank you. Gloria, did you have something else to say? No? Okay. Anyone else?
If we were going to have a candidates informational meeting, can we do that?
I'm not.
Or is there the campaigning issue?
I think it's a campaigning issue.
we've always had, I mean, we've had them before, usually someone outside of government sponsors it. We've had them
Oh,
at
like
the
the
Moore Free
library.
Library, which is not open. I participated once when it was the Newfane Elementary School.
Well, I guess
The
if
Williamsville Hall is open and heated on demand. So there are places to do it. It would be good to find someone who wanted to spearhead doing that. As someone who's running, I don't think it would be appropriate for me to be that person.
So anybody interested, reach out.
You put something in the front porch forum, asking for someone
Yeah,
to
there you go.
organize it, select a date.
Should the board make a motion to do that?
I don't know if I
I
can.
don't think, that's,
What does that require of the candidates? I guess that's my question. This would be my first time participating in something like that.
And what was the question, Katie?
What does that require of the candidates?
Gloria?
I participated in several of them, and so it's just a chance to present who you are and what you would like to do for the town. So I remember my first time where people didn't know me, but I introduced myself as a native Vermonter and gave some of my qualifications. Those of you who would be running again, you know, you could just talk about your track record with working on the Selectboard, what your passion is for wanting to help the community.
Okay.
Or if your passion is that you want power, and you state that, but I would be careful with that one. But it's really about 2 to 3 minute presentation of who you are, how you're related to the community, some of your background in terms of your work could influence, like I was a teacher and organizational skills were important.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right. So I'm not quite sure still how we would go about doing that. I guess the candidates that are running could contact each other and probably reach out and set something up. That would be appropriate, I assume. Because I know you did one at the store.
Yeah,
'Cause that's where I first met you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just hosted my own little gathering, and that was nice.
Yeah.
Are there political parties in town that would do it?
There
Oh,
are.
there are, yes. Gloria.
Actually, when I first ran, I talked with Shannon, and she got that organized. So it isn't just dangling out there. So we, as a town, we're supportive, and as Deb said, those were then held at the elementary school. But I think, not that Juanetta, she just twiddling her thumbs with all of this budget and getting the town report ready, but it could just be spearheaded out of the office.
Right. Well, is there anything else on the topic? And I guess if anybody wants to reach out, they can, and we can go from there. But we need to keep moving along. Oh, we have a question?
One last thing,
Yes,
sorry. I think that because of all of the extra measures we're taking to stay apart for COVID, it kind of seems a little strange to be like, oh, but also we're gonna have our candidate meeting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Could be done by Zoom.
Zoom or Teams. It's very, very useful. Thank you.
When it works, it's It's great.
Are you heading out?
I have to go. I don't think I'm needed here.
No, I think we're gonna move right along. It's good to have you here.
Stay warm.
Thank you
Yes,
for,
awesome.
thank you for coming,
Thanks, Deb.
and I'm sure we'll be in touch very soon.
Okay. And sometimes you gotta see one of my things, figure out why I can get on.
Yeah,
Make sure I can.
okay.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Thank you, Deb.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
We're gonna move into some old business and review the articles. I looked at them and I think they're fantastic, and you've done a great job. Very clear, neat, and concise.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Good to me.
I looked at them and they look good to me.
And in forethought, I did put Newfane Town Office as the voting place.
Perfect.
You can read the future.
I have a ball.
So if everyone is okay with this, we can go ahead and sign it this week.
Yes, please.
Us three can sign one tonight. This one is nice and neat. I haven't written on it. So we'll sign that tonight. Katie, can you stop in and sign at some point? And you'll get in touch with Michael.
My only question is, has it
Yes.
been proofread with numbers and all that?
Yeah, well,
This is,
Melissa helped me with the numbers for the articles 34, 35, 36, and 37. The other ones we did go over as appropriation articles, and that totaled 39,753. When we work the numbers into the budget, it comes out on the money
Ah,
in Melissa's financial reports.
but you and Melissa have gone over each and every one of these.
Yes, we did.
Great. So do we need to have a motion to approve and sign?
I would appreciate that.
I make such a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Katie?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Excellent, and now we have to review the final budget figures, which is the ones on the back page, correct?
Correct.
34, 35, 36, and 37. And you said that you and Melissa had gone over all of these?
Yes. And our final number for the entire budget,
And do you have that for us to sign as well?
well, it's the budget report. It's these figures have all been put in, and these figures were transferred to the articles,
Okay,
as well as her financial report.
and the final number is?
And it's a one, has it gone down?
It did go down a little bit because of a funding, and then because of the grand list.
Cause it looks like it's gone down to 117,000
No, it's a million.
million.
Our
Taxes.
final of all the funds is $1,576,958.
Okay,
Is that on the last page, last number?
Yes.
last page.
Total of funds, yes.
Yep,
Great.
and then the total expenses. Revenue, the total expenditures, was $1,639,749, which is on page 9.
Uh-huh.
So that's where we take the the revenue and the expenses, and we subtract the appropriations, because it's a separate article, as well as the excavator is a separate article.
Yeah.
And that gives you the numbers in Article 34.
So we have a motion to accept the budget.
I make such a motion.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? Great job, everyone.
Woo-hoo.
All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, yes?
Well, just the fact that we'll put the booklet together and that we have chosen a special person.
Yes.
Chosen a special person.
Oh, it's the dedication for the town
Dedication.
report, hopefully that's done.
Yes, I actually started collating the pages today, and we'll finish that up. I have to have it to the printers by the 27th for the first draft.
Excellent.
So I'll take a USB, go down to Staples, make
Yes.
sure it's a clear copy, and send them a hard copy as well as the electronic copy.
And the reason for that was last year there was some issue with the printer and the copier, and so I had suggested to Juanetta to purchase one that was big enough to hold the entire town report and make one copy to send to the printer so that we didn't have the smudging or any of those issues that we had last year,
Yeah.
so that, thank you for doing that.
Yes.
All right, any further discussion on the motion for accepting the budget? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Katie?
Abstain, because I don't have the numbers in front of me to verify.
Sure.
Okay?
Shelley?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Continue moving forward, please. All right, any new business, folks?
There was just one.
Oh,
item.
the ARPA, yes,
I just
ARPA.
wanted to let people know that the federal government came out with a further explanation around the ARPA spending. It's a 500-page document. Everyone is still going through it to try to understand it. VLCT and WRC have both said that they will be having meetings once they've had a chance to go through it and make sure they really understand it. It looks like what they've done is made it much, much, much easier to spend the money.
Oh.
I know. Whoever thought the federal government would do that? So it looks like that this is just gonna make life significantly easier, especially in situations like ours, where we didn't get all that much money, just, I mean, it's a lot for us, but where they seem to be keeping the rules heavily intact is for those jurisdictions that got over $10 million.
Oh.
Would that only be us? But for our situation, it's looking like it'll be a much easier situation. We will have more information, I'm not sure, surely within a month maybe, but definitely in the next several weeks. So as I hear more, I'll let people know, and I'm sure it will be publicized on VLCT. They'll be having meetings about it, and as will WRC.
Now, am I right?
Wicked exciting.
Yeah,
We have received some money.
we received the first half,
The first half.
and the second half comes this year.
Excellent.
And then when would we be able to disperse it or start to use it?
As soon as we want.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There's no limit on when you start, but there's only a limit, which is a couple of years away, of when you have to have committed all the money.
Okay.
Well, that's exciting. I like 500-page documents. That's fun. Anything further on ARPA?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll just mention one other
Yes.
thing. I got an email today from Steve, Ratko, the consultant who came to our last meeting, saying that he has had difficulty finding other positions to sort of try to put together a bunch of part-time jobs. And he's thinking that he's probably gonna have to leave the area. And he said that if we were willing to work remotely, with him that he could still be available, but it's my opinion that we really need somebody here who we can touch and feel and talk to and show
Yes.
things to. So it would be my recommendation to pass on Steve's application and either keep looking for others or plan to rely on WRC, who are going to be bringing on project managers.
Right.
That's
And
a
they
good
would
idea.
also be a possibility.
I think that's
to
an
do.
awesome, because they are really geared to our region.
Yep.
That's a good recommendation.
So if everyone's in agreement, I will let Steve know that that's our decision.
Right, and they also were looking, WRC was looking for feedback, right? As to.
Yes, and we gave it,
We did,
we were
yes.
saying that we were interested. And they hired a project manager recently,
Okay,
who will be starting soon.
okay.
Is everyone in favor of that recommendation? Katie? You're on mute.
Yeah. I'm in favor, we need to make a motion.
I don't think so.
I
As long as
think
no one
so.
disagrees, I'll give him a call tomorrow and let him know. I wish him well.
Do you agree, Shelley?
I agree.
I agree. Obviously you agree with you.
No, I disagree with what I've been saying. Who the hell is that?
Great. Is there anything further? Do we have any new business? I don't have anything. Anyone? Anyone? Here.
I will
Yes.
have some more information for you, about the cannabis legislature that we discussed at the budget meeting last week, this week. I apologize for the delay.
No worries. Looking forward to seeing it. So with that, we have no correspondence and we're gonna move right into pay orders, and I'd like to thank everyone for being here and with us tonight.
7:30.
And with that, we'll go right into pay orders. Stay safe and have a great evening.